stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and I want to welcome you to part 2 of this episode of the Unpleasant Blind Guy on EDL Radio. Now remember, if you want to contact me with comments, questions, show suggestions, Awesome American suggestions, I'm available at UBG Contact on Twitter, or I can also be found as Dave Milner or Agador, that's Aggedor, on Mublet, the Tea Party Community, Spreely, Minds, MeWe, or Gab. Now let's begin. Welcome back to the English Defense League radio show, everybody. Those are the names. Please remember them and say a prayer for them in your hearts. The reason we read the names, people, is because we want people to understand that when these attacks occur, they aren't just numbers. That these are people, men and women, boys and girls, people who had families and friends, loved ones, and whose deaths and departures from this earth mean something. Now, we understand that to government, they don't mean that much. But to us, to the English Defense League, it's always about the people. And I think, Jeff, you would agree with me, would you not?
I certainly would, Dave. You know, it's when you read the names out, that was just one of our brothers or sisters that was just going about their business, and it makes you reflect on who they leave behind. I mean, it's just not, you know, them, but there's families. There's, you know, they could have extended family. I mean, it affects so many people, the knock-on effects. And that's why we always want to pay homage to these people who's not with us no longer. Simply with people out there who decided that the kuffar, as infidels, needed to pay a heavy price because they don't respect who we are and we don't follow this cult of theirs. That is why they wanted to inflict that evilness upon us. Most of us, though, have been more determined to stay our course against this evil, even though those in power have appeased them, because that's what we see with them. You know, the appeasement goes on, and if it's coming to a head, it's coming to a head. I guarantee you that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This show today and future shows, you'll know what I'm talking about. We've all had enough of what's going on and the way that those in power appease these people, the cowards in power. What a name for these people, Dave, the cowards in power. Because that's
I think I agree.
Are.
I think I agree, Jeff,
yeah.
That's a good segue to get into talking for a moment about the 7/7 attack in Dallas. Now, this was instigated by Black Lives Matter terrorists. Now, what you will see in news reports is that it was only one man, but I don't believe that. And I say I don't believe that because I used to work in the area where these attacks took place in Dallas. And what you had was a mob of people. Remember, this was 2016 that this happened in. And it's very important for the British government to understand the dynamics of what happened with that, because I think this was one of the things that ultimately got President Trump elected, because this attack occurred. The police officers died, whose names I read. And then at their funeral, this is something that still fills me with rage, Jeff. At their funeral, the then president, Barack Hussein Obama, had the tin-plated gall to stand there in front of their grieving family members and defend the terrorists. This was one of the most diabolical things that this sociopath ever did as president. And I have to tell you, my British brothers and sisters, my English brothers and sisters, the sociopathic vibe, that's the only way I can put it, that I got off of Barack Obama is the same one that I get off of Khan, the mayor of London. It's the same thing. It's the thing that says we don't give a furry rat's arse about anybody but ourselves. It's pure evil. Now, I want to play this, Jeff. This is what happened. This is how organized these Black Lives Matter terrorists were. And this is what occurred the night of 7/7 in Dallas after the protest broke up, because there had been the shooting, of course, of the police officers. There had been the terrorist attack. Now, this is how these people acted after these attacks occurred. And again, as I do every year, I thank God, actually, for local TV. This comes from WFAA TV, Channel 8, which is in Dallas. All right, and they had a local reporter on the scene at a convenience store, where you can buy, cigarettes, beer, sodas, that sort of thing. Small establishment called a 7-Eleven over here. Now, I'm sure you guys have equivalents there in the UK, Jeff. And the thing is, you have to listen to this and listen to the fact that these people were bussed in, and just listen to their behavior afterwards. Jeff, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and play this. This is about 2.5 minutes. You ready?
Yeah, go for it, Doug.
All right, here we go. You're listening to the English Defense League radio show, people.
We told you earlier, before we went to actually this news conference, we just showed you that there was some kind of situation going on near a 7-Eleven downtown Dallas area, in fact, on Ross Street. Our Jobin Paniker's there right now, where a number of police officers had gathered, also a crowd, and it looked like there was some kind of a standoff going on. Jobin?
Well, John, yeah, I guess this is the result when you push people further and further away as the officers create their perimeter, as they push people away. A lot of people have congregated here just outside this 7-Eleven. We're on San Jacinto and Griffin, and this 7-Eleven they shut down about an hour ago because there were just so many people here. We had a chance to talk with someone who came in to actually get some water, and they said people were just coming in and just taking alcohol out of the fridges out of the fridge in the area, and also just taking anything they can. You can see a lot of the trash on the ground. This is all stuff. I can't tell you that all this is stuff that's been looted, but for what we've been told is at least some of the items that you've seen here are things that people have stolen from here. You can see the wall of officers that are sort of protecting at least the establishment, as well as, the reason we got to this location so late was because our vehicles were parked in this parking lot, and we had a very hard time getting our vehicles out because there were so many people surrounding it, and also people putting their beer bottles and pouring their beer and alcohol all over our vehicles. So we had to remove our vehicles safely with all these people around. I would say there are about 300 to 400 people in this area. We're being told that there are buses on the way here to pick up some of these people. We do not know for what purpose. We do not know if they've come here, if DPD has called the buses out here to pick up these people. But at this point, what we're noticing is a lot of people here taunting officers. We're noticing people that are clearly intoxicated, people who are clearly mad. and not a very good mix right now just outside the 7-Eleven. Again, it is closed. It's closed early. The owner asked DPD to shut down because people were coming in to steal items from that store.
And there you have it, Jeff. Basically, these people acting like animals. And again, it has to be remembered, Black Lives Matter is affiliated in the United States with the Nation of Islam. So, again, as you said, Jeff, the prime mover in all of this being Islam, and in this case, the left. Now, I want to play one other thing, because this is also an interesting deal here, because what was determined, the police officers who were out there, trying to marshal this Black Lives Matter protest about just general quote-unquote injustice, which is all based on BS figures and everything like that, were in T-shirts. They didn't have body armor on. And this explains that. Jeff, this is just over 3.25 minutes. You ready to hear that one?
Yeah, okay.
All right, here we go, guys. Again, this is the English Defense League radio show. We're talking about the 7/7 attacks in London and now in Dallas.
New information tonight into an investigation the I-Team first broke at 6.
It's been nearly 1 year now since 5 officers lost their lives in an ambush on police in downtown Dallas. Many of the officers say one call that night may have cost lives.
Investigator Ginger Allen joining us right now with a look at who the officers are blaming.
We continue this tonight. The I-Team has been told officers were ordered to keep some of their protective gear in their vehicles, told not to take it out as they headed to the rally that turned so deadly. Tonight, the Dallas Police Association is pointing fingers directly at the mayor and the former chief of police for mistakes made 1 year ago.
It all stops with one person, chief of police.
Dallas Police Association President Mike Motta goes straight to the top brass, blaming former Dallas Police Chief David Brown for a call that he says made July 7th so deadly.
He should have made better calls, and he didn't.
Calls that could have saved lives.
Calls that would have prevented the loss of life.
Motta tells the I-Team officers assigned to the rally in downtown Dallas last July were told if you have rifles, leave them in your vehicle. And if you have protective gear, body armor, and helmets, do not wear it.
They were not allowed to wear that.
They were told not to.
Yes, they were told not to.
Do not bring that out.
Do not arm up. I know the command staff for the city of Dallas and city leaders did not want to portray the police department as a form of militaristic view. And so those heavy vests and those helmets that could have protected those officers were sitting in the trunk of their cars.
The I-Team has also learned since the deadly ambush, at least a dozen other police departments have stocked up on rifles, helmets, and heavy-duty vests as a direct result of what happened in their backyard. Motta says 60% of the Dallas officers have used their own money to buy better equipment in the last year. He says Dallas has not spent a dime to provide them new protective gear. Officers point to Mayor Mike Rawlings.
That's a fair that falls on his desk. We always can find the money to build a golf course, to build a deck park, to build a bridge, all these signature projects that the mayor loves to talk about. But when he makes promises to the police and fire that we're here to protect you, action speaks way louder than words.
Motta says the city does not want to spend the money equipping officers with tools that might offend or intimidate the public. Simply put, he says past and present leaders are putting image before safety.
They don't see it as a priority. It's only a priority when he gets them on TV, and then it's a priority. And then as it calms down, they don't want to talk about it anymore.
We could not reach former Chief Brown for comment, and DPD did not respond to our request. Mayor Rawlings, meanwhile, did send the I-Team a statement saying the department has taken numerous steps to better protect our officers through the purchase of equipment and donations from the community. You can read his full statement, and it's a long one, on our website at CBS-DFW.
You know, we were talking about this earlier, Ginger. It's amazing that we're just now hearing about this. Coming up on the 1-year anniversary, now this bombshell that, you know, they could have had some more protective equipment with them. And
we sat in that interview and said that, wow, why are we just not hearing this?
Wow, okay. Ginger, thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
And there you are, Jeff. And that has to have a familiar ring to the people of the United Kingdom too when it comes to the kind of protection that they get in their neighborhoods. I'm talking about cities like London and Birmingham and places like that, because the of the political correctness. They don't want to spend the money. Oh, it might offend someone if we have our officers well enough protected. Oh, it might offend someone if we don't have police officers monitoring Facebook and Twitter to put good people in jail for making offensive tweets. Does this mess sound familiar to you, Jeff?
Well, yeah, I mean, and to want to put someone in prison for upsetting Muslim paedophile rapist gang.
Right. Exactly.
It goes to show you the times that we live now. It's coming to a head. It's we've had enough. We've had enough of this political correctness garbage that is causing so much destruction and problems across this planet. Time we put an end to it. Time for common sense. A time for the people to come together again and stand as one and fight against this evil, because it's evil that's conducting. Those in power are total evil. There's nothing. I can't say anything good about anybody that's involved in Parliament or any of them lot. They are evil. They're all Luciferians. They're all sort of up to their necks in satanic evil rituals out there. With people like me saying it or not, it's too bad, because I know what's going on. We all know what's going on. A policewoman stood outside the Old Bailey and spoke about some of these issues. A policewoman who was commended, who had medals for what she did, spoke out against the problems in this country. And when you get someone, an ex-police officer that speaks out like that, you know that it's just not us, the people. This is people like that lady that spoke out, who's got a YouTube channel. You should listen to her. She's really, really
good.
Yeah.
Dave, we played that on the show.
Back to you, Dave. Yeah, she's a pretty awesome lady. I always follow what she does, and you know, she's like a lot of us. We just scratches her head and said, "What the hell was going on?" You know,
yes.
You know, it's disgusting. Wanting to put a man who speaks out against the total evilness that's been going on in this country, put in prison for speaking out against these people that's they've committed over 1 million, there's over 1 million girls and boys that's been raped and groomed and passed and trafficked. You know, and it's still going on. It's probably we're talking, Dave. You know,
almost
but anyway,
certainly.
We're still talking about 7/7 and some of the other things. I could call back in, Dave. Just looked, I'd gone over my normal thing, but it's when I started thinking about things. You know, it just goes on in your head what's going on, isn't it, Dave? Can I pass it back to you, Dave, and then I'll call back, mate. Yeah.
Sure thing, Jeff. In the meantime, what I'd like to do for the people, folks, if you would like to, say a little prayer in your hearts for those lost in the 7/7 bombings and those lost in the 7/7 terror attack in Dallas, this is a good way to do it. Jeff's going to call back in, and in the meantime, so that you can also have a break, I'm going to play a song called Arms of an Angel. This is going to be about 4.5 minutes long. And please join us for the second half of the English Defense League radio show, where we're going to get into talking about Tommy Robinson. This is very apt, considering what Jeff just spoke of. And we'll do that when we come back. This is Arms of an Angel. This is for the dead and for their loved ones. You're listening to the English Defense League radio show.
appropriate tune to play for today, 7/7 day. We've got to thank you for playing that. It's a wonderful, wonderful tune, and that especially goes out to those the poor people that lost their lives and all those that was injured as well. You know, with there's probably some of them that never get over the injuries that they sustained. I mean, what you always hear is the fatalities, but I don't think people realise there's over 700 plus, wasn't there, Dave, that was injured.
Yeah.
And we got to
physical and
realise
mental.
that some of the injuries weren't just cuts and bruises. People had lost eyes, limbs, hands, feet. You know, so it wasn't just superficial. I say someone was walking wounded, but they still, these injuries will live on in their minds. That they're scarred on their minds. You never forget living through.
They'll never be the same again. Yeah, they'll never be the same again, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, it
hold them in
happened.
Our prayers. That's why. When we play the tune, that is to all those that was maybe listening to the show that was injured. You are in all of our thoughts and prayers, and of course we think of those that passed on that day. But to all the families, everybody that was touched by what went on this horrific day, which we all knew was going to come. We wasn't sure exactly where it was going to hit, but we knew it was going to be pretty traumatic wherever they decided to create this, what you want to call it, this wantingly blood fest of theirs. Is that appropriate? Bloodfest?
I think wanton bloodfest really signals it, Jeff. And as you were saying before we broke, this all comes down a lot of times because again, all of our governments knew about the threat of Islam, especially after 9/11. The UK government knew about the threat of Islam, and yet they kept bringing Mohammedans into the UK and infusing Sharia more and more into the government and telling people more and more, no, you've got to comply with this. And now we're swinging it as we swing into the second part of our program. They have taken the law of the United Kingdom and just wadded it, if it was written down on a piece of paper, they just wadded that up and threw it in a trash can when it came to a man named Tommy Robinson. Jeff, I've got an interview that he did with Alex Jones, and I'm not a huge Alex Jones fan, guys, but he did an interview with Alex Jones, and I will say before I begin this first of three recordings that we have, because BTR won't let us do the entire thing all at once. No. It does tend to mess up on long files. But but Alex Jones did invite Tommy Robinson to host more or less on his own the first hour of an InfoWars program on Monday. So you guys will have to go over there and check that out if you want. That'll be Monday. That'll be tomorrow. But for now, this is an interview.
6 p.m.
Okay.
British Summer Time, and oh my God, with 5 hours behind. So what's that? Is that 12? 1 o'clock? Isn't it? 1 o'clock. 1
yep,
p.m.
1 o'clock Eastern. Yep, in the States,
Eastern,
and 6 p.m. BST. Thank you, Jeff. Oh yeah, no, Jeff, you figured it out. You got it totally right, and thank you for that info. So, folks, you can check that out tomorrow. As for now, this is what Tommy Robinson talked about with Alex Jones on the day on Friday. This was after he had gotten the news, and this is this is terrible stuff, Jeff. If you're ready, I'll go ahead and run the first.
It was about 10 o'clock at night when Tommy was doing that interview with
right.
Alex, if I remember right. Dave, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and play this. Each of these is just right at about 12 minutes long. And this first one is going to begin now. You guys are listening to the English Defense League radio show. This is a special edition of the program. Here we go with the first part of this interview Alex Jones did with Tommy Robinson.
UK court finds Tommy Robinson guilty for journalism. And now, ladies and gentlemen, he joins us here in the War Room with myself and Owen Schroyer. Tommy, this is tough. I know you lost something like 35, 40 pounds. Last time you were in prison, you were put in prison before that for a year and almost killed by the Islamics. We're all rooting for you, my friend. It felt like a punch in the gut earlier when I learned that you had been found guilty of conducting journalism. Thank you for joining us.
Honestly, Alex, I knew they were going to find me guilty because I don't have a jury. So I'm before a judge, the Old Bailey. Just so people understand, today, the Old Bailey, that is the highest court of our land that only has serious cases. There were 13 murder trials, and then Tommy Robinson was on trial for causing some anxiety to Muslim paedophiles. That's what was happening today. And I was convicted on 3 counts. I had 3 different charges. So people understand, 14 months ago, roughly 14 months ago, I stood outside of Leeds Crown Court. I went into the court in the morning. This is all backed up by witnesses that they had come to court. I went in and said, can I have the information about the reporting restrictions on this case? I was told by the witness who admitted this in court, he didn't know of any reporting restrictions. My colleague went in, looked on the screen, took a picture of the screen, looked on the courtroom door, no mention of reporting restriction. I went on my phone, I looked online, I looked at the court website, no mention of reporting restriction. Now, if you Google, which is exactly what I've done, so I've researched all these things myself. If you Google reporting restrictions in the criminal courts, the top link you'll come to brings up the judicial system's website. Now, on that website is where it gives instructions for media and citizens to know what they can and can't do regarding reporting restrictions in British courts. There's not one website that lists which courts have them all. In 2014, the British government were advised by the Law Commission so that it's fair, they must get one national website where when they have a reporting restriction on a case, it's on the website, one national website, so journalists and the British public can go and have a look. If
and that's called, for those that don't know, Tommy, a D notice, correct?
Yes. Yeah, if there's a court case in Luton, and I want to look at that court case, I can look on one national website and see the details of what you can and can't say. Now, in 2014, the Law Commission told the British government this is what you have to do. They didn't do it. They haven't done it. On their website, if you read it, it specifically says their guidelines are they have to have it on the courtroom door, they have to have it on the courtroom screen, they have to have it on the website. Yeah? The report restrictions. What it turned out, which we had the evidence of in court, when it came to my statement, I said there was nothing on the screen, there was nothing on the door. I had to give my affidavit 4 weeks ago, which said this. They went to Leeds Crown Court and they got the computer system, which then printed off because they thought they were going to prove me wrong. But what it done was prove me right. At no point, and this come out in court from their witness, at no point were the reporting restrictions uploaded onto the court system. So it was never on the screen, never on the door. No one ever knew. The judge gave a reporting restriction, but it was never uploaded anywhere. This come out in court. It was proven in court that they didn't follow 3 separate procedures to notify people of the reporting restriction.
Well, Tommy, that's like saying the speed limit has been lowered, but they don't put a sign up.
That's it. And when I went up to Leeds Crown Court, and I went in and asked. I tried to find out about the reporting restriction, and because I had been told there was one, what I then did, and this is from their website, what I then did is I erred on the side of caution. So I took it that, okay, there's a reporting restriction, okay? Even though I think it's not on the site, it's nowhere, I have been told previously there is one. So all of these other rules become irrelevant. This is from the judicial's website. Courts, this is at the bottom, courts have no power under Section 4 to prevent publication of material that is already in the public domain. What I did, I stood outside court and I read from a BBC News website. And I said, this is the list of names of the men that are in court today. And here are their charges. They haven't disputed that everything I said was in the public domain. Now, according to this, which is on their website, still now it's current on their website, do you know what their argument was to this? It's wrong. It's not the law. It's like, it's on your judicial guidelines website, the government's. It's your website. So
this is pure judicial tyranny, in my view. Tommy, what do you think of this? And the big question when we come back in the next segment, think about it. But what do you think is going to happen at your sentencing next week? You're obviously a political enemy. You almost won your run for Parliament, even though they censored you for the EU Parliament. You're a national hero. Your numbers go up and up and up, even in their fake polls. So they want to silence you. We'll think about that and come back from the break and talk about what you face. But tell us the best websites for people to visit. Tell us the best areas for people to stay in touch with you and your family as you stand up and fight for all of us.
I've just got tr.news is the website, and then now the only social media I have left is Telegram, and again that's Tommy Robinson News. I don't know, man. I'm just my charges, Alex. Charge was that I breached the reporting restriction. Second charge was that by asking the Muslim defendant how they feel about their verdict, that I could have caused them anxiety, which would make them feeling uncomfortable on their trial. The trial had finished. The trial was over. I got convicted today and found guilty of contempt for asking a paedophile, convicted paedophile now, how do you feel about your verdict? I showed in court today a BBC News journalist asking me the identical questions outside of the Old Bailey, the court that I was being tried in. I said, actually, so we showed evidence. I said, press play. She done exactly to me what I did to her. And I'll send you now, Alex, another video. After court, she come up to me, the same journalist, and I said, what's the difference between what I did and what you did? And do you know what they said in court? They said that we must send a message to all these new citizen journalists. Basically, you can't do it. That's basically what this was.
That's right. They're telling citizen journalists, shut your mouth or we'll throw you in prison, especially if you're the guy 12 years ago that first began to expose the kidnapping rings, the grooming, the little girls dead, cut up and fed into kebab machines. You were the first to talk about how they don't just kill and rape the girls or rape and kill. They cut them up and then sell them to the public as meat kebabs. That was in the news last month, and the man indicted for it doesn't say he's sorry for reportedly cutting her up and feeding her to people as meat kebabs. And so these are the type of people that you had the will to expose. And the truth is they're supplying, reportedly, children to government officials. Let's not just blame the Muslims. There's a big appetite by the British elite and others to diddle kids. And so they're basically the Renfield supplying the Draculas. Tommy Robinson, a hero to the world of nationalism and patriotism. Here on the War Room, we're going to ask him what he's facing next week, what his lawyers are telling him on the other side. I'm Alex Jones with the newswars.com, infowars.com, tomorrow's news today. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a quote that Tommy said after he was tortured in jail and starved to death, very close to it. He said, I'm not a victim, I'm a target. Well, they're trying to put me in prison right now. You know all about it. It's all over the news with the worst stuff you can do. Leo Zagami is a great patriot. He's had to leave Italy, where his family's aristocratic, successful. He's a best-selling author. He's had to leave here. They're trying to put him in prison there. They've arrested him a bunch, sued him dozens of times. Same thing's happening to me. They've sued Trump over 1,000 times. They're trying to put him in prison. This is a real civil war we're in against multinational corporations, against nation states. And Tommy Robinson has been at the heart of that resistance. And look at these headlines from the BBC. Tommy Robinson guilty over Facebook broadcast. Imagine if 30 years ago you read, or 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, someone guilty over broadcasting, politely reading a BBC article of how they'd been found guilty. And all the rest of the media could be there, but Tommy Robinson couldn't. We have the footage, and the judge at the window laughing at him and pointing at him as he got arrested. Well, he appealed it. He got out of prison. And now they plan to put him back in, it looks like, next week. This is so incredible that we've reached this point. But when freedom fails, the best men rot in filthy jails, and those that cry to appease are hung by those they tried to please. Tommy Robinson, we didn't talk much before you went live on air. I don't know the answer to this. You usually know the answer. What's the best bet on what's going to happen to you, my friend, next week? Tell us when the sentencing is, and tell us what you think you're facing.
So it can carry a 2-year sentence. I think 100% they're going to send me to jail because they've ruled against the law. They've not followed the law. They've gone completely against the law, haven't broke the law. And anyone who's watched the video, if you watch the video, I'm polite, I'm calm when I ask them questions.
Tommy, I'm going to interrupt you. Even if you broke the law's wrong. People, I used to watch UK News 20 years ago, 10 years ago. There'd be gaggles of reporters outside of court asking lawyers and convicted or not convicted people. It's normal. You weren't in the court. You weren't meddling. D-notices used to be on spy stuff and top secret things. It wasn't, you've explained that. You did nothing wrong. They did this wrong. So why would they do this, and what do you think you're facing? I think I'm going to jail. The best bet I've got now is to launch another appeal. Again, Alex, £115,000 we've spent fighting this case. This is what a lot of it comes to. So now, if I lodge an appeal, it's another £30,000 minimum. So that if not, they're eating you up. So if I lodge an appeal, if I get sent to jail next Thursday, then I can apply for bail to get out of jail whilst I await my appeal. But what it's shown me... No, they eat you up like cancer. Same thing's happening to us. They're suing Owen as well. Keep going.
It's shown me that they don't care. They don't care that the world's watching. They don't care that they haven't followed their own laws. They do not care. They are changing a new... Do you know what, Alex? I was charged... Originally, they told the whole world that I prejudiced the trial and I risked collapsing it. Yeah? When 2 separate judges it went before said, actually, no, he didn't. There's nothing he says that does that. That case then gets dropped, yeah? I then get out, I'm released from prison for what they call an unlawful and a flawed process within the court.
And there you go, people. That's part 1 of that. Jeff, do you have any comments before we begin part 2?
Well, Tommy was like, well, I knew that this was predicted. Well, I'm going to read a little statement. In a little while, I'll wait till you play the second part, and then I'll come back and make a statement. Then we can finish up the third part of the Alex and Tommy interview.
And that is it for this time. Next time, part 3. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye.
The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2019. Anno Domini. Now for Dave's Canes. Extras that help you navigate the new media world.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.